That's James's deck dinner today. So it's a stuffed pepper, Bulgogi BBQ Baked potato, salad, and those parmesan, whatever, the eggplant things, and raspberry and coconut cake. I'm going to talk about Wonka and Psych, the complete collection. And I did a rewrite of Steve Frank's theme song.
I think these are called sfogliatelli.
Oh.
Is that awesome that I remember?
Okay.
I just saw sfogliatelli.
Alright, so I'll start out by reading Steve Frank's actual lyrics that I got off, I got online off this psychusafandom.com site. So this is how Steve Frank's lyrics go. In between the lines, there's a lot of obscurity. I'm not inclined to resign to maturity. If it's all right, then you're all wrong. But why dance around to the same damn song? You'd rather run when you can't crawl. And then the chorus goes, I know you know that I'm not telling the truth. I know you know, they just don't have any proof. Embrace the deception, learn how to bend. Your worst inhibitions tend to psych you out in the end. In the realm of compliments, there isn't any higher than a fabricated misdirection fashioned by a liar. You think you hate all that you love, acting so surprised when it fits you like a glove. You want to find the answers, then I offer solution. Everyone has got a dose of healthy disillusion. If it's a game, yeah, they want to play. You better load the dice, because they'll do it anyway. But you'd rather run when you can't crawl. So, in Psych, he only offers up the first part. So up until Psych you out at the end. For the.
Did you get this off the internet, then the full part of it?
Then you get the whole song. But anyway, I actually like how he wrote it. There's some inner rhymes, and I like that. I like the rhythm rhyme scheme. I think it's pretty good. Just some of them.
Some of the rhymes.
Some of them aren't so great, you know. There, some of them, it's you'd rather run when you can't crawl. I don't know what that has to do with the song, but
it's catchy though.
It's catchy,
you know
but catchy for another song. Mm-hmm. You know, so there's things in there that, like that, and that learn how to bend. That's not good. That's really bad. So I think he's wanting to go with be flexible, right? But it's not.
There's a lot of lazy rhymes.
Same thing.
Here, right?
Yeah.
Truth, or something like that.
Yeah, and I actually don't mind that. I mean, that bothers James more, I guess, but it doesn't bother me when people.
Well, when you set a form
because
and then you follow.
Yeah, but it's in the chorus, so I have. I'm okay with that because it's a chorus. It's its own little thing, right? So.
It is.
Yeah. So to use assonance and whatever in one place and then.
So okay. There's no parallel with it. Okay.
No. So I'm okay with that, right? And anyway, there's another line there that's really not good. But why dance around to the same damn song? What does that have to do with? That's bad. That would be good in another song, but it doesn't make any sense here. So there's the lyrics actually needed some tweaking. And I might lose some of the inner rhymes and whatever with my first draft of my, and the only draft, because I'm not going to give this any more time, but Steve Franks, if you're out there and you want to redo this show or have another go at a movie or whatever, you might want to look into using my rewritten lyrics instead of yours, because you have a good thing started there, but it's not great. It could be better. And especially in a TV show, when you're listening to it over and over and over, it's like, oh my gosh, here it goes
does
again, the
occur,
bend thing, right? And it's just, oh, I don't want to hear that bend. I don't want to hear why dance around, right? Because it doesn't make any sense. And as much as, like, you can get really carried away when you're writing songs, you can get carried away with the rhythm and rhyme scheme. And you can go, wow, this sounds really great, but does it make sense? You have to ask yourself, and if you can hear the lyrics, it's going to make a big difference. People will not want to hear the lyrics that don't make sense again and again and again. So anyway, here goes. While the police offer strength and security, I'm less inclined to resign to maturity. I think I'm right, I might be wrong. I'm making things up as I go along. But by the end I'll solve it all. You know, I know that I'm not telling the truth. You know, I know, but you don't have any proof. I'm truly a liar, yet truly a friend. So follow along, I might just psych you out in the end. That's my take in it, and I think it's better than what you had.
I'm going to read that. It sounds so much better.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
I think I did a good job there. I didn't do the
She's not
tune
a
right.
professional yet.
I have a
But she's
cold,
better than you
and
got.
I'm having a hard time even hearing things right now. So I'm sorry about putting you through having to listen to me not get the tune right and everything. But I think you can see that my lyrics there, they all made sense for your show.
Yeah.
And if you're out there, Steve Franks, watching this, and it really didn't take, it was just me jotting it down, right? It's not as hard when somebody's already come up with the rhythm and rhyme scheme for you, and you just, well, at least that's how I feel about it. You just go plug it in. You know, I kept some of the lyrics. You know, I put, I'm less inclined to resign to maturity rather than I'm not inclined. Because I'm making the comparison with the police, right? Like, why would you hire this psychic detective over the police? Well, or like, how is he different, right? Or whatever. And it's a comedy, so I'm making things up as I go along, and by the end I'll solve it all. And then with the you know I know that I'm not telling the truth, you know I know, I change it to but you don't have any proof, because that's another thing that bothers me when I hear something. Who are they? They weren't a part of this, the lyrics. There was no they. There's a you and there's an I that's mentioned. So where did this they come from? If it hasn't been mentioned, it's not there. You have to actually tie everything together in your song. You know, it shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be a they. They don't have any proof. It shouldn't be. It should be a you. So, anyway. So that's all I have for Steve Franks.
Interesting exercise, Pauline. Interesting.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
Are you folks out there listening? She can rewrite your lyrics for you.
I could help somebody revise their lyrics. But anyway, we went for a hike today. I actually got out, but it took a lot out of me. And then I made James dinner. Well, that took a lot out of me.
That's a fantastic.
Yeah, but I didn't leave those. There's still some peppers in the oven, stuffed peppers, but I wanted to get the meal out, and so it's not really soft enough or anything. But that's
the pepper itself.
Yeah, it'll be a part of a salad. So, yeah, what was I going to say about the Psych collection? So I finished it, and I think I'd already seen the last season before, because I remembered that episode with Bruce Campbell in it. So I must have seen it.
You must have mentioned that to me, but it slipped by. You're slipping so many names. Bruce Campbell must have been.
There were so many people, and they managed to get a lot of talent guest appearing in this season, in the series. And the one with Bruce Campbell, they had the Tears for Fears guy. I can't remember his name. He was back again. And yeah, it was a great episode in season 8, I guess that was, with Bruce Campbell. But season 8 was terrible, I have to say. It really was awful. It was such a letdown. I mean, I started getting disappointed in season 7, honestly. But season 8, it was all over the place. It's just, I don't know, maybe they were trying to do the movie at the same time or something, and they just didn't put enough work into the series. I don't know what was going on. But there's one episode that it's like, it seems like, anyway, I don't know, but it seems like what they did is back in, I don't know, it might have been season 6 or something like that. It was back a ways. Then they had this episode that it was mostly in the courtroom, and it ended up being one killer in front of the green screen. And then in season 8, they had this episode again, but this time it was a different killer in front of the green screen. And I think probably it felt like they'd already had this one in the can, and they just decided, oh well, let's put it out. But well, it didn't follow. So you're thinking back to what happened or whatever, and you didn't show it as like a dream, Steve Franks, or anything like that, or an alternate sort of reality or what. So the viewer is watching it going, well, I just watched that. And or like if they're like me and was sick in bed for a week. And that's not what happened in the end. And then there's no reason for why you're showing this thing that happened way back then. You know, it doesn't tie in at all with season 8. And then there's another point where what was it? I think it was something like Guster got his new job, promotion in the pharmaceutical company, and then there's a couple episodes later or something, and then he's worried about having lost his job. Well, that doesn't make any sense, you know. So you didn't. The season wasn't mapped out well. It was really disappointing. Plus, I mean, both of these shows, if you know, if you're watching Wonka, then you're going to be seeing a lot of candy and chocolates and whatever kind of thing, right? So, but this one you see a lot too, so neither one of these are good for dieters to watch, or people who want to avoid eating sugar, because you're going to be craving it the whole time you're watching these things, because they're gobbling it down. And Sean, the main character, he just keeps getting bigger and bigger as the series goes along. And in, I guess it was probably season 7, where Juliet, his love interest, gets really skinny. She just goes bone thin. And this happens a lot of the time in Hollywood. Actresses are really worried about getting older, and worried about not being hireable anymore because they're getting older, and so then they just drop weight like crazy, trying to hang on to their job security, right? It's the security, job security. But I didn't like watching it. She did not look good anymore. I mean, she's a beautiful actress, but going that thin and then next to him, it just didn't look good. I mean, if they started clumping out together, that'd be kind of cute. You know, you're well matched. You're, you know, whatever. It's anyway, so there's a lot of things there that bothered me. But all in all, this was great to watch while I was sick, because it offered many laughs. And when you're sick, you don't feel very much like laughing, you know, you're really down, but this picked me up. So
Yeah, when I first heard Pauline laughing, I knew she was getting over the sickness. Although I was a little worried about the possibility of sore throat.
But yeah, I really like how there's a lot of silliness that I think there could have been better research into how detective agencies actually, or police, how they run, or something like that. Like, he's touching everything, and they do make jokes about it, like the what do you call it? The police chief. She's saying, like, somebody's commenting about touching the body or something, and she's like, we're lucky if our psychic doesn't lick the body, you know, because he's all over the place. And so they make jokes about it, but yeah, this is not a detective show. It's a comedy. And I think that they really wrote well for Sean, making his character. He's such a bad friend, honestly. He's the perfect aggressive propagandist type, that he's like a total ham, you know. You watch him and he's not a good actor. He's a comedian, but you love watching him, right? He's like a big kid. And he
yeah, it's funny how there are people that way, like John Ritter, who used to be on Three's Company or whatever it was. He was a lousy actor, but people found him funny. I found him funny.
Exactly. You just saw aggressive propagandists. Either they do comedy, or really they don't do anything in acting. Honestly, you can't. You can say, oh, William Shatner, I loved him as a Captain Kirk. Did you really? Or did you find it kind of comical? Did it add a little bit
It's
of...
hilarious.
Did it lighten up the seriousness of... the Enterprise, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an Enterprise. Captain James Tiberius Cook.
Yeah, he was kind of a light character. And the fact that he kept scoring with the ladies, that was funny, right? I don't know. For me, anyway, I love the original Star Trek. But, so Sean, he's the kind of character, he has his best friend, Burton Guster, he's, honestly, I don't know why Burton would stick with him. But he does. They're a team. They've always been friends. Since they were babies, they've grown up together, and they've always been friends. And Sean's the kind of friend that he steals your toys and lies about it, doesn't admit to it, and or breaks your toys, breaks your things, doesn't pay you for it, and he's a total freeloader or whatever, right? And like, Burton's supporting him. He's working this pharmaceutical company job, supporting this psych detective agency, which is his best friend's abilities, and he's working with him doing that too. And yeah, I mean, it's funny to watch, but at the same time, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. I never want to have a friend like Sean, right? So this is, of course, going to get top of the stack above that. That's just a TV series, and it was funny. I laughed a lot. My favorite joke in that was 6 of them are numbers. So if you watch it, you'll know what that is. Like, it'll happen, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's so good. And they knew it was a good joke, because later on in another an episode later, with Ken, the character Ken, then he refers back to that, and it didn't work the second time. They shouldn't have bothered, but boy, the first time it really worked. So there's a lot of great humor in there. I don't know if I could pick out a favorite episode, but it was a lot of fun. Whereas Wonka, this is a little more serious, and there's a lot of there's sweets in both of these things a lot, and I like the reoccurring theme of the pineapple coming up again and again, and you can see, well, it would, because he loves sweets, so he loves pineapple. But in this when I first read the back of this, it took me a while to bother to watch this, not only because I was trying to get through that. That's an undertaking.
But you were a little worried, eh?
But yeah, it says Wonka tells the wondrous story of how a young dreamer named Willy Wonka becomes the world's greatest inventor, magician, and chocolate maker. I'm like, oh, this is before the Wonka story. I don't know, right? But there's some good musical numbers in this, and good special effects. Decent dancing, whatever, decent story. This is great. This is a lot of fun. I think this is fun for the whole family. Whereas this one isn't. No kids are gonna watch Psych. And this is pretty timeless. This one, honestly, I loved it. It's great. Now, they did manage to find a young Wonka who looks a little bit like Gene Wilder, but handsome. Whereas, I don't know. I love Gene Wilder. I would have loved to marry Gene Wilder. I think his eyes are just amazing. They're really out there. They're very big eyes, but they're just such a gentle blue. They're really nice, and against his lovely red hair. So I'm not saying he's not a handsome guy, or wasn't. I don't know if he's still alive. He would be quite old now. But this guy is actually, I think anybody would find him handsome, and he doesn't look comical or anything like that, and he isn't comical in this. It's playful, but not really comical. It's a musical, and it's a great musical. I think a lot of people would enjoy it. So that's really all I have to say. You?
Well, you're mentioning it about someone, the possibility of being dead. Gene Wilder, I agree. I hope he isn't.
Yeah, I hope not.
But there's one guy who died recently. I believe, just judging from the headlines, it was follow-up. It wasn't direct news. I think Brian Mulroney died in the last week or so.
Oh, really? Wouldn't have been that old, would he?
Not there. Wasn't that much younger. He could have been 90.
Really, that old already?
Well, 85, yeah. Definitely over 80. But no way he was just 10
didn't look
years
that
old.
old when.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe he had good skin or whatever. I don't know.
But I think this was the Globe and Mail. It could have been the National Post. Which time? 5?
Yep.
They were saying Canada was kind of like shaped in this image. This was kind of like a headline or cut line or something like that. And I'm going, yeah, but is that a good thing? Yeah, but is that a good thing? I gather our shortage of doctors started with him. Shortage of doctors here in Canada. Our deficit just went wild under him. We haven't recovered. Similar thing happened in the United States, same time, although the U.S. had maybe a bit of an excuse. Ronald Reagan started the deficit funding. It's amazing how the Republicans, whatever they say they're good at, they're worse than the Democrats at. I'm not saying the Democrats are really great at balancing the budget, but check the record out. Pauline did a paper for economics way back when she was going to university, and I told her the things to check out, and she checked them out. And every measure of economic health for the United States, the Democrats had been in the same amount of time roughly as the Republicans.
Hello,
And
Robin.
this since 1947, every measure the Republicans were worse than the Democrats, and they were particularly bad with unemployment and stuff like that, but they were worse than the Democrats, the so-called tax and spend Democrats. They were worse, and it really started with, why was the problem? You know, like in the 80s, they were crying, oh, you know, like our deficit's way worse, it's the worst it's ever been. No, that's a lie. What it was the no, it was not as bad as it was for the United States after World War II. Uncle Sam wants you to buy U.S. war bonds. That was a poster back in World War II. What did that mean? You know, you buy bonds, and you're basically from the government. You are funding them, and it's government debt. They're bonded to pay that back. And per capita was way worse. But how come they paid it off? Well, you see what happened. It was Democrats in power. They actually taxed the rich people a little bit back then. Under Reagan, they started to say, offloading paying taxes to the middle class. Yeah. And that's why they've run up this huge deficit. They could get rid of it easier than they got rid of it after World War II. They actually started taxing rich people. So in the United States, I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to keep on repeating it. There was this show where Warren Buffett was complaining about his tax rate, 13%, and he was complaining about it. There was another idiot on it complaining about paying 8%. The guy paying 8% thought it was too high. Warren Buffett supports the Democratic Party, or at least he does. The last time I checked, he was saying he paid too little. 13% is too little. You, if you're middle class or lower class, ask yourself, how much do you pay percentage-wise? It ain't 13%. It ain't 8%. It'll be up in 20%, at least here in Canada. Wake up. Why are you electing these idiots?